Hey y'all, it's Ashley at Bookish Realm and I am back with another video. This is Vlogmas day number 14. We have made it to 14 days, y'all. 14 days. 14 days. I'm so excited about that. We only have 11 more days left. We have been going strong. I really appreciate all the support and for everybody that's been commenting and watching. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I think we are going to make it to 25 with no date skipped. I think this is going to be a thing that's going to happen, so I'm happy about that. So as you can see from the title of this video, this is a short book recommendation. So we are going to be looking at books that are 200 pages or less. And I got the idea to do this type of video because of the song Run Run Rudolph, which clearly is talking about how Rudolph needs to hurry up and race to get things done because Santa has a job that he needs to get done. So I was thinking, okay, what do we need to rush through, but not really rush, but things that can go by quickly in relation to books. And I was thinking okay, it's the end of the year. Everybody is trying to reach those Goodreads goals. So how about we talk about some short book recommendations that could kind of help you reach those goals. And I know quite a few booktubers have done this before, so this is nothing new, but hopefully I have some books on here that can give everyone some motivation. They vary across age categorization as well as genre, so hopefully it'll be a little bit of something, you can pick at least one thing out of this group of books that you might be interested in to maybe read it this year before our goals are up, or maybe next year think about adding that to your goal list. So as with all the videos before, let's jump in and talk a little bit about the song. So Run Run Rudolph was recorded by Chuck Berry in 1958 with Chess Records. If Chess Records sounds familiar to you, you probably will know that the movie Cadillac Records, which starred Beyonce in it, was kind of a reimagining of Chess Records, and it looked closely at the lives of the individuals that ended up recording with Chess Records. So for me personally, I became familiar with the song when I heard it featured in Home Alone. So you probably, when you click in the video down below, you probably will know it as soon as you hear it, and you may think of some particular scenes in the movie Home Alone. Okay, so the first book that I have on this list is actually a series that I just read this year myself, and that is the Booze and Booze, so B-O-O-S and B-O-O-Z-E series. This was a compilation short story collection done by a group of Black indie romance authors, and they all got together to do this for Halloween. So the series is made up of 6 books, and they're all in between 30 to 40 pages. So not only can you probably finish this in one sitting, one of the books in one sitting, you could probably finish the entire series in one sitting. I think I binged the series probably over the course of a couple of days, if that. So like I said, it's made up of 6 books, and the 6 books are Costume Cuddy by Shanicia C. Higgins, The Wrong Wicker by Ashley Nicole, The Stroke of Midnight by Diana W., Halloween Spice by Turtleberry, Eerie Obsession by T. Key, and Brewing Storm by D. Rose. And as with any short story compilation, or when people get together and do groups of books together, the writing and the level at which you enjoy each book is going to vary depending upon how you click with their writing style and the actual content of the story. So some of these I clearly enjoyed over all others, but they all take place in this one town, and it's centered around a Halloween party. And I would personally recommend reading them in order. You don't have to, but I would, because there's always one character. Every time I see these compilation type of situations, there's always one character that appears in every single book, or what they'll do is there'll be characters from the previous book in the book that you are currently reading. So definitely would recommend kind of reading that in order to get the full experience. But overall, generally a good short series to read if you're trying to reach a Goodreads goal. The next one I have is probably one that people have heard of if you read romance, and it is Theirs for the Night by Katie Robert. This is the first book in the Twisted Heart series, which is 2 series that I think were started off individually but then connected. I've only read the first one, which is Theirs for the Night, and I definitely read this one in one sitting. It is really short. It's about a woman by the name of Meg who is going out for her birthday. She meets these 2 guys, and she finds out that she is interested in both of them and anticipates probably going home with both of them. So this is an MMF romance, and there is some interesting parts that happen at the end of it. So I definitely want to pick up the next one. I won't get to it this year, but if you're looking for a short book to read and maybe a new series to try out, I would recommend looking at this one. The next one that I have on this list is Mother of the Sea by Zeta Elliott. I actually read this one as part of my Black Mermaid Sirens vlog that I ended up doing, which I really enjoyed. And this was a really short one that I ended up finishing within a day or so. And it is about a young girl who is taken aboard a slave ship after her village has been raided, and her only kind of companion that she has is this small child. But there's more to that situation than what is revealed. I definitely would say be mindful of this one though going into it. There is on the page rape scenes. There is of course mistreatment of people because we're looking at slaves making the transatlantic voyage. So nothing about this novel is going to be beautiful or not difficult to read, but it is super important, and it deals a little bit with the water goddess that I was making reference to in the vlog. So if you want to know my specific thoughts on this one, I definitely would recommend checking out that vlog. The next one that I have on this list is For Everyone, and this is by Jason Reynolds. This is really short. You definitely can finish this in one sitting, and this is a poem that Jason Reynolds wrote when he was younger. This poem is about accepting and being okay with who you are and where you are, and knowing that your dreams don't have to have a time limit. So I know that traditionally, and I think culturally, I could only speak for like being here in the States, I think we set these expectations of where we should be at certain points in our life. Like, you know, oh, you know, at 30 I should have a family and a house, and that's not, you know, that's not necessarily true. Most people are not going to be at that point in their life, and it's okay if you have these dreams and, you know, you reach a certain age or a certain point in your life and you haven't gotten to that dream yet. What I love about this is that Jason Reynolds kind of reiterates the fact that no matter how old you are or where you are in your life, like, you just don't give up on your dreams. You don't feel like because you're a certain age you can't achieve things. This is very inspirational, and it is one of his works that I think people don't talk about as much because it is literally just a poem. And I think he wrote this poem before he became, I think, published, like mainstream, because he was published before all this stuff that you see now. But that first deal that he got didn't end up working out, and he ended up having to go back, and he was working retail, he was teaching at one point before he started writing books that you see now that are published. So I feel like this was also kind of like a love letter to himself about that first point at his life where he didn't reach his goal in publishing, and coming back at another point in his life at a different age and still being able to become the accomplished person that he is now. The next one that I have is technically book number 2 in the series, but it can be read as a standalone, and it is called Claiming You, and it is the second book in the Lennox in Love series by Tina Martin. And this is about two characters who do a fake marriage in order for our hero to maintain some business things that he has going on. But of course, even though they're fake married and they've been friends for a long time, he has feelings for her. And I don't want to delve too deep into this one because it is relatively short. I believe it stands at like maybe 121 pages. I don't know if I said this at the beginning of the video, but all these books are going to be under 250 pages. So if I didn't say that, just know that now. But this is a short book. I thought it was a okay romance. It was decent, and I still want to continue the series. But if you're looking for like fake marriage, probably with a black romance in it. This is one that you should probably check out. The next one that I have on this list is part of another series by Frankie Love, and this is the Way to a Man's Heart series, and these are all plays on like phrases, but it incorporates food into it because most of these take place in a food setting. I've actually read 7 of these books. I binged them towards the beginning, middle-ish part of the year, probably more so the middle part of the year. And if you're looking for quick reads, this is it. They're like 30, in between 30 to 50 pages each. Like most books with series like this, they're novellas, so some of them are better than others. They all deal with romances of some sort. They all have different tropes aligned with them. So I am showing you Pizza My Heart because that's the first one, so you get like a piece of my heart, but it's Pizza My Heart. Some of them are much better than others, but if you're looking for quick romance reads that deal with food, I would check these out. The next one that I have is A Little Stuffing by Ashley Nicole, and I don't think I've talked about this one yet on my channel. I've mentioned it a couple times in some live shows, but this is another romance that takes place during Thanksgiving, and I'm sure you could tell by the title, A Little Stuffing. It doesn't have to do with like using stuffing for anything, because I think that title can be misleading. It's not like that. It's not like that at all. It's in reference to something else, but this is really cute. There actually is a follow-up to it as well if you're interested in that one, and that one is called Completely Stuffed. So I definitely would check out these two. The romance between the two of them is really great. It is about a couple. They start off as friends because it's about our heroine who is friends of the family of the hero, and they meet up at Thanksgiving, and then of course things go from there. And then the second one, we kind of pick up exactly where the first one left off, and we get to see how their relationship evolves. And I really love the second one. Like, I just love Ashley Nicole. First of all, just so you know, if you're looking for funny quick books to read, Ashley Nicole does it very well with her romance. Like, I laughed so hard reading that second book. I literally was in my recliner, like tears coming down my face because I was laughing so hard. So she is a humorous romance writer. I remember tweeting that out. So if you're looking for funny and romance and quick, I would read these two novellas. The next two books that I'm going to talk about are part of Penguin's Pocket Change books that I had received 2 arcs of. I want to read more in their collection, but these are 2 that I have read that I thought were really great. They're really short. I think probably maxing out in between 60 to 80 pages a piece. And the first one that I'm going to recommend is Beyond the Gender Binary, and this one was written by Alok Vadmanan, and this one looks at our understanding of what the gender binary really is. And this is one that really taught me a lot about myself. I try to be very mindful about trying to associate gender with things that my child encounters, but there were other things that Alok had brought out that I was like, oh wow, I can't believe I do that. And Alok really does question and challenges the fact that although we have the quote-unquote binary as the norm, by creating this thing that is normative, we are ostracizing other groups, and it's really not the normative, it's what everyone is comfortable with, and that we should be in a place where we should challenge our comfort. And I really enjoyed this one. It was really good. So if you're looking for a nonfiction short collection, I definitely would recommend this one. And the second one that I picked up in this collection is Concrete Kids by Amira Leon, and this one is a back and forth of artwork, poetry, and prose, and it is a discussion of the Black experience, and Amira does a wonderful job just capturing different things, whether that is Black joy, a lot of discussions around Black trauma, things that a lot of Black kids end up dealing with. And when she's talking about concrete kids, it's a lot of conversations about these kids who do not end up leaving the block that they know. They never leave that area. They never see any other part of the world, and how they deal with things like the endless cycle of violence and poverty and gentrification. And she even takes the opportunity to delve a little bit on the AIDS epidemic and how that impacts the Black community. It was very powerful, very heartbreaking in some sections, because it definitely deals a lot with Amira's own experience, but I loved it. And I just love what Penguin is doing with these collections. I wish that they were marketed and pushed a little bit more than they are, because they are great short nonfiction pieces that I think people can use, especially if you're not used to nonfiction or you're not comfortable with nonfiction. I think this is a great gateway, especially when you can kind of pick out topics that you're interested in. But these two are really, really great. I highly recommend checking them out. The next one that I have is actually a classic that I read a while ago, and it is Chronicle of a Death Foretold by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. And this is about a town, because I'm trying to figure out the best way to explain it, because it is a short story and I don't want to get too much away. But it's about this community where a bride had just been married off, and her husband gives her back to her family because clearly she has had some sort of sexual relationship prior to becoming his bride. And because she's returned in disgrace, her family wants to know, like, who's the guy who did this. And her brothers set out to kill the man. Santiago, I believe, is the character's name. And what's interesting about this is looking at how many people in the community knew that this murder was going to take place. And you start to question whether the two people who committed the crime are responsible, or whether a whole community is responsible. And this is not the easiest book to read. I think it took me a little while to read it, not like an extended period of time, but this is a shorter work that I think may take a couple of days to work through, because of the fact that there were some passages that I know that I had to reread. But it is a good book to read that is under 250 pages. And if you're looking for a shorter classic to get into, I found this one to be particularly accessible. I really enjoyed it. I think there was a lot that Marquez was saying with this book, and it was my first introduction to his works in general. So if you're looking for a way to get into a classic book, I definitely would recommend this one. And when I say classic, there's classics and then, you know, like modern classics, and I definitely would categorize this one as a modern classic. The next one that I have on here is That Could Be Enough by Alyssa Cole, and this is for fans of Hamilton. This does not necessarily focus 100% on the Hamilton family. This is after the death of Hamilton, though we do get glimpses of Eliza, and it focuses on two women. The first woman worked for Eliza in her household, and the second woman actually is the descendant of one of the characters in Alyssa Cole's other book, which is Be Not Afraid. So the woman that we see in That Could Be Enough is actually the granddaughter of the hero in Be Not Afraid. So I thought that was pretty cool. So this is really about these two Black women falling in love, and I really enjoyed this one. It was short, it was easy to make it through this, but I love that it was about Black joy and being Black and queer, and that these two women brought out the best in each other, and there wasn't a heavy emphasis in discrimination and racism. Clearly it was there, but that wasn't the main focus, and I really enjoyed that, considering that this book did take place in the 18th century. So of course there was going to be issues with race during that time, but Alyssa Cole took that moment not to focus on that, which made it a not heavy read, really light, very enjoyable, watching the two of them fall in love and build this romance between each other. So if you're looking for one like that, I would recommend it. Next, I have Loreta Little Looks Back, and this is more so a middle grade nonfiction book that looks at the detrimental effects of sharecropping through 3 different voices that are all within one family. And I don't want to go too much into this one because I have done a full reading vlog on this, and it definitely reminds us that Black history is US history, and that a lot of things being discussed in this book are things that we all should take some time to learn about if you live in the US and you go through K-12 education, that these things should be taught. So this is a shorter nonfiction book, kind of like the nonfiction books I talked about. I think this one is probably just a little over 100 pages, but if you're looking for some more information just about sharecropping, how that impacted and affected the Black community, and the relationship that poor white farmers had with Black sharecroppers, or lack of relationship, I would recommend reading this one. So the last one that I have on this list is Under the Mesquite by Guadalupe Garcia McCall, and this one focuses on a young girl that is wanting to become an actor, but there's some things that happen. So she is a part of this close-knit Mexican American family, and her mom ends up getting cancer, and while her father takes her mother to a clinic that is out of town, she takes the sole responsibility of her family. And it is, oh, this was a difficult read in the sense that you end up having to literally watch her grow up so quickly, because it's 8 kids and she's the oldest, and she's taking care of 7 brothers and sisters, and still having to navigate her teenage years and trying to figure out like what she wants to do with her life. But this is such a beautiful book. It's been a while since I read it. I think it's been about 3 years since I've read it, but I had the option of choosing any book that had won an award, specifically the Pura Belpra award, and I chose this one, and it is done so nicely, y'all. It is in free verse, which is why I included it. It's under 250 pages and it's in free verse, so you could finish it quickly, but it's one of those impactful, hard-hitting books, but definitely a narrative that needed to be told. All right, y'all, so that is it. Those are some of my short book recommendations, books that you could possibly use to make it through to your Goodreads goal. I'm sure that there are hundreds and hundreds of books out there. I mean, novellas are usually the key to to reaching those goals. I also say like comics and stuff, but I didn't include any comics or graphic novels or manga on this list because of the fact that the video that came out yesterday has comic, manga, and graphic novel recommendations on it. So if you want some of that stuff, definitely check out the video that I posted yesterday. As always, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content from me, click the subscribe button. If you're looking for ways to support my channel, be down below in the description box, as well as ways to follow me on social media, and I will be back with another video tomorrow.